Today I'm going to go through with you how the course runs. UAR, the qualification board that's for our degree here, our course here, and going through a little bit of the course content as well. How it's going to work throughout the day is these are 30-minute sessions. So after it hits 10, like sort of close to 10:30, this presentation will be closed, but you can access it via our Wiltshire College YouTube account, because I'm recording it as well. So throughout this presentation here, you can also ask questions in chat as well, and at the end, as well as I've got my email at the end, so you can message me with any additional questions afterwards. So let's get started with it. So in terms of the course that we run here at Salisbury, it's UAL Level 3 Diploma and Extended Diploma in Creative Media Production and Technology. However, that's the Games Development section of that qualification. So here at Wiltshire College, we run two. So in terms of, we've got a TV and film, Creative Media Production, and then a Games Development, Creative Media Production Technology. But on Salisbury campus only, so after you sort of finish your level 3 course, you can go on to our HNC HND course in games animation here at Salisbury campus only, which is quite good because it means you can have a sort of stable environment throughout the whole course of the education. And with Pearson, it's equivalent to a uni degree, but also you can go on to uni afterwards if you'd want to as well. With that, so throughout this presentation, I have some images of student work too. So on the right hand side here, we've got a student that just went to uni last year, or for this year, in which he was interested in doing character sculpting and so on. So in terms of what software we use whilst on the course here, we use pretty much a lot of the industry standard software, but not only that, as students progress within the course, there's a lot more ownership on your work. So you might want to introduce software yourself at home or to bring into college as well. So in terms of what we offer here at Wiltshire College, we use Maya, which is a 3D modeling software. Some students like to use Blender, and I sort of recommend that before students arrive to the course because it's free. It's a free modeling package, but it's also got some rendering software in there as well, plus sculpting and so on. But more importantly, it's free rather than Maya's rather expensive. So I don't recommend to people wanting to join the course to purchase that because it is rather expensive. Photoshop we use quite a lot in terms of image editing or process called texturing and so on. And then in terms of game engines, we use Unreal Engine predominantly, but you also have access to Unity, which are both free to use at home as well. So again, much like Blender, I highly recommend prospective students check those softwares out because they are free, and it gives you a little bit of a heads up before joining the course. So in terms of skills that you'll be developing whilst on the course, predominantly we sort of focus on both the art side of the industry and programming, and sort of obviously creating game experiences as well. So with that, so we teach 3D modeling, so that's linking back to Maya and Blender. We do some texturing, material creation, game engine implementation, again, a list of software. Whilst on this course as well, there's a lot of research involved, which I'll come on to in a little bit, but research skills is a main area that's focused on in building throughout the course. Theory of art in video games, scripting, portfolio building, and more. And that portfolio building one is probably the most important out of all of them, because that ultimately is what's going to get students, if they're wanting to go to uni, it's going to help them get to those sort of more prestigious game art colleges or unis, sorry, or programming courses at uni as well, and jobs too. So in terms of after college, if you're wanting to do the HNC, HND in university and so on, There's a whole host of jobs and careers you can move into by taking this course or by doing games development. And the important thing is that although some students arrive to the course they want to do games development, you can move into like areas like film and CGI, because much like if anyone watches the Mandalorian by Disney, that's using Unreal Engine, so that's involving game tech surrounding that as well. But also areas like architectural visualization, which is sort of the recreation of architectural buildings like houses and flats and business complexes within a 3D rendering engine or a game engine. Animation, so I do allow, although we don't directly teach animation during this course, there are opportunities for students, if they want to, for their projects, learn animation and incorporate animation into their work. There's video game art, video game programming, video game design, environment art, and lighting art. So with that, there's a whole host, and this just a small selection of areas you can go into following the course, which is quite interesting as well. With games development, it's a growing industry. It's always competitive as well, but there's no shortage of job opportunities, especially within the programming sector as well. In terms of UAL, so as I said at the start, UAL is the qualification board which we are a part of for this course. So the great thing with this is focusing on the students' development progress, plus a lot of the practical is incorporated as well. So emphasis on the process of development, which more often than not, when you join at in year one and start at unit one, and you move towards year two, you see that huge development progress throughout, which is really cool. You do some contextual work, research. There's a lot of problem solving. As anything within games, problem solving is probably one of the biggest areas that you have to deal with day to day. Planning and production, practical skills, evaluation and reflection, and more importantly, there's no exams at all in this course. So it is all assignment based, and I'll come on to the structure of how the units run and so on. So in terms of linking it to UCAS, the diploma level, so that's year one of creative media production. For a pass, you get 36 UCAS points, 60 for merit, and 84. So if a student was to leave after achieving their diploma, those are the points that you would get. And then in second year, which is the extended diploma, you get 72 UCAS points for a pass, 120 for a merit, and 168 for a distinction. So those points there, if you continue on to extended diploma, those are the points that you'll take with you to if you're wanting to apply for uni. So most uni courses are 120 points plus. So achieving those merit and distinctions in that second year is a key factor. So in terms of units, we're just focusing on first year here. We run 8 units throughout the year, but the difference between using UAL as opposed to something like BTEC, units 1 through 7 are just pass or fail units. But Unit 8, which is the pass, merit, and distinction, that's that final unit, Unit 8, that we do between the end of February and sort of ends at the end of May. That's where students will get their final grade. So with that, units 1 through 7 are a lot about learning new software, learning new processes, learning all the skills, so that when it comes to Unit 8, students are prepared and ready to produce the work necessary in order to get their final grade. And then in second year, much like it says here, so we have 5 units in second year, so that's units 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So units 9 through 12, they are pass or fail. And then the final unit, so unit 13, which is final major project, that's also where you'll get your final grade. So much like in year 1. Year 2 is a bit obviously more advanced, but it counts when it comes to unit 13. So you can, the whole emphasis, and if I go back to the last slide, that emphasis on the process of development is how these units run, because you are allowed to make mistakes during those formative units, and then in the last unit you can build upon all those lessons learned to get a good grade out of it. And what you tend to find, so there's a variety throughout the course. So from unit 1, so this year we were running a 3D modeling assignment. Unit 2 is about research for that assignment, but then we get on to, say, unit 5, 6, and 7, where there's a diverse range of topics. So with that, unit 5 is to do with audio. Unit 6, we are doing UI this year, and unit 7 is creating an interactive experience. So throughout your time on this first year, you will learn different avenues of the games industry, so that hopefully by unit 8, although some students it's a different, it works out differently, but hopefully by unit 8 you feel like you know which area of the industry you might want to pursue, or which area that you want to focus in on. So if you are wanting to do audio, the audio side of the industry, for your unit 8 project, that can be a point of emphasis for you, so that you're doing a project that you like, that you enjoy, and that you will use in the future. So in terms of example projects, as I said, we run a variety here over the course of the 2 years, and those are, so it's 3D weapons and props modeling. So that's utilized throughout the course because it's very practical based. There's a lot of 3D modeling involved. There's a lot of texture creation, audio creation, as there is an audio unit, is a big part in creating your experiences for games and so on. User interface design. There's opportunities for character modeling if that's an area that students feel like pursuing. So within year 2, there's a lot more ownership on what students create. So although there's an overall assignment brief and so on, within that students can create what they want within the context of that brief. So as an example, for unit 9 this year, students were able to create either some props for a asset pack, or create a character sculpt. In addition to that, environment art's a big portion. Interactive experiences, game experiences. Obviously, we are wanting to create games out of it, so creating something that's practical, something that's functional, is a huge part, especially if you are wanting to go into the programming or scripting avenues of gaming. And then along with that, we run game jams. So that's sort of usually about 2 a year, 2 every academic year or more, where students are put in or have their own groups to basically within, say, 48 hours create a game or create a game experience. Along with that, we do in-house work experience. So what I mean by that is that we get briefs from external companies, external sources, and we produce a whole, not a unit, but work around that work experience brief. So usually those run in around January time, but that's a good part because around, in terms of Salisbury area, in terms of game opportunities, there's not too many developers around here. There's some in Bournemouth, there's some in Portsmouth and so on. But by having the in-house work experience, it's a lot more accessible to students and can be completed within the time frame of the course. And then ultimately, all these projects, although they have a core, as I said, a core brief, a core idea, the themes within those are completely down to the student. So with that, hopefully the themes that students decide to choose for each unit and so on are themes that they enjoy and themes that they are passionate about. So that follows through within their work. So on the right hand side here, this was a year 2 student last year that for Unit 12, he wanted to focus in on texturing, so material creation. So he was using specialist software to produce that, but it's a theme that the student is wanting to carry out themselves. In terms of trips, although that's a little bit different due to current circumstances, but prior to this year, we ran trips to EGX London. EGX Res was planned for this year. Sadly, it didn't go ahead. We also go to the V&A Museum in London, and then again, under normal circumstances, we would be going to university visits and so on. Nowadays, due to current circumstances, a lot of the university visits are done online. So that's, although we have something called tutorial, in which university sort of the walkthroughs and so on that universities offering now are shown within tutorial. A lot of those universities visits and webinars and so on are accessible via uni websites. So it's on the student if they are wanting to go to uni to view those and so on. Although hopefully once things sort of hopefully get better down the line, things like university visits are more common again. And then in terms of the student, who do they need to be? One is organized. The best way to sort of, well, organized and good attendance is probably two of the top ones here. If students are attending and so on and consistently working within the hours, then it always works out in terms of getting a pass, merit, and distinction at the end. So working well with others. There are group projects within the course. So the work experience projects are usually group based. The games jam ones, and there's a games jam unit in year 2 as well, which is group based. So being able to work with others is important, especially when you are wanting to go into games development. Positive attitude. So hopefully the student that's joining the course is positive, they're passionate about the subject and are wanting to create content for games and so on. That goes with enthusiasm as well. Good time management, again, another important point. And then willing to give it a go. So by that, as I've said throughout, the whole point of the say units 1 to 7 is about experimenting. It's important to realize that when a student joins the course at unit 1, for the majority of the students that arrive, they've never touched this software before. They've never done any of these subject matters before. However, that doesn't mean you're not able to do it. So giving it a go, experimenting and working with the software and so on, it's all about practice, so that you will eventually pick it up. So being able to sort of be proactive and working yourself is a key aspect of the course. In terms of myself, I always try and help out in terms of figuring out how to best approach a student's work in terms of conceptualizing an idea, because quite often students are a little bit unsure. Although we run, say, as in terms of software like Maya, Unreal and so on, in my own personal time I use a lot of other softwares that some students might want to use within their projects, so I can help figure out the more advanced methods and advanced uses of software. Always happy to see you, so always, that's a given. Always happy to turn up and get stuck in with the content and so on, teach. Always believe in you, so I always believe in terms of everyone can get the work done. Everyone has the opportunity to progress and so on. There's no one that's just left behind. Everyone's able to achieve something within this course, and that's again linking back to how the course is ran. Say a student isn't proficient in 3D modeling or isn't super comfortable in using that software yet, there's always different avenues that we can switch to, say something like a 2D aspect instead of a 3D. So there's always different avenues that we try and pursue so that you are able to pass, so you are able to learn and grow on the course as well. In in terms of will make good ideas great. So having that discussion, having that feedback, and so on is important throughout the course. So with that, you get the best ideas possible, and that more often than not, students may say they're unsure on their idea. So I have a discussion with them to sort of iron out some of those, and then the student will go away and do a little bit of research on it and then come back to it. Constructive and supportive feedback, that's a big one. How I run my course in terms of, we do critiques and so on in terms of critiquing 3D models and so on, but it's not about berating a student or being sort of overly critical about a student's work. It's about areas that of their work that they're doing well, areas that they could improve on, but also making sure students understand that people within industry, they're not going to come over to you and say horrible things about your work. They are going to give supportive feedback. They're going to try and make sure that you're creating the best work that you can. And then always credit where it's due. So as all the work is uploaded to a Wix blog, and all the work is the students, it's all their work. None of it's mine. Even when it is helping out a student with a certain practice, a certain process, and so on, it's always on the student to then go and apply it to their own work. So it's always, there's huge student ownership to their work, which is very important to the course. And then if you have any questions, there's the chat on the right hand side. I did activate Q&A mode on this, but I'm not too sure how it's working. But you can, if you have any questions, you can type that in chat there. In terms of applications, they can be made online at the Wiltshire College website. And then in terms of my email, it's joseph.ratcliffe@wiltshire.ac.uk. So if you have any additional questions that you're unsure of today, you can message me through email, and contact me through there. So I'll leave you for a moment just to see if you guys have any questions. If you don't, then I'll end the presentation. As I said at the top, this presentation will be uploaded to our Wiltshire College YouTube channel, so you are able to watch it back at a later date. And throughout the year, we'll have additional open evenings as well. So there's no reason that if you are wanting to, you can do another open evening later down the line. So that's everything from me today. If you don't have any questions, I'll close the meeting for now and have a great rest of your. Oops, I think we got one question. How many students are there on the course? So in second year this year, we have about 16, I think, but there was 21 in the first year of that year, and then this year we've had 14 to 15. So 14, sorry. So they're quite large classes, and with that, because we are using Teams and a lot of online delivery, I have some students that they have to be in college either way, but based on the current situation, if a student is feeling uncomfortable about being in college, I always record my classes through Teams. I also stream the classes through Teams whilst it's live, so that students that are at home, they can also take part in the class and do the class as well. The only downside of that is that most students don't have the software at home. So, but yeah, in terms of class sizes, they are pretty large in terms of, it can be arranged from say 15 to about, I think like the max I can have in my classroom is probably about 25 or so. How many days a week? In terms of first year, how this year's ran, year one students are in from 9 till 5 on a Monday, 9 till 5 on 9 till 4:30, sorry, on a Tuesday, and 9 till 4:30 on a Monday. And then Wednesday, they have 1 hour of tutorial, which ranges depending on, so this year, I think tutorial for year ones is at 9 till 10. And then one session with me in the afternoon, which is 1:15 to 2:45. So usually it's sort of 2.5 days a week, depending on how the timetable runs. This year, because we're doing blended learning, students are in 9 till 4:30 on a Monday, and then on Tuesday they are in from 9 till 12:15, and then there's an online class from 1:15 to 4:30, and then Wednesdays this year was online from 1:15 to 2:45. Sorry. So I don't know what it's going to look like for next year, but that's what's happened for this year. So yeah, usually it's about 2.5 days. So students do 13.5 hours a week on the course. Cool. Again, if you have any additional questions, just email me, and I'm more than happy to reply. All right. So have a good Saturday, and hopefully see you later.